From severe weather finally making a return to the plains, to Tropical Storm Jangmi starting to intensify quickly, this is your Chonkita weather forecast. So, we have a lot to talk about in today's weather forecast. From multiple days of severe weather in the Great Plains, to Tropical Storm Jangmi likely to become a strong typhoon later this week and significantly impact Japan, to another tropical system likely trying to form sometime next week in the eastern Pacific Ocean. So anyways, let's get straight into this video. First of all, looking at our current day 1 SPC severe weather outlook, you can see for today we have a slight risk of severe weather, mainly from northern Oklahoma into western Texas. We have a couple areas to watch for maybe a brief tornado or two today, mainly across northeastern Colorado and northwestern Texas. But the main risk for today will be damaging winds. We have a 15% damaging wind risk from south central Kansas and northern Oklahoma into western Texas. We have a 5% damaging wind risk from southeastern Wyoming into central Oklahoma and western Texas, and another 5% risk area mainly across northwestern Montana, and another one mainly across southeastern Utah. And we have a couple Sigma areas. We have one across northern Montana, and we have another one from south central Kansas and northern Oklahoma into western Texas. In both those areas, there could be some isolated to scattered damaging wind gusts reaching over 75 miles an hour, so make sure you are prepared for that. And we do have a significant hail risk for today. We have two 15% risk areas, one across north central Oklahoma and another across western Texas. We do have a couple of Sig 1 areas in both of those areas, so if you're in those 15% areas, you could see some hail potentially reaching up to the size of baseballs today. If there actually are some storms already out there, so it's kind of late to prepare now, but I figure I'd still talk about it. Next, looking at the SPC severe weather outlook for tomorrow, you can see we have a slight risk of severe weather, mainly across southwestern South Dakota into western Nebraska. Across that area, we do have a 2% tornado risk, so if you're in those areas, you can see a isolated tornado or two. There's no Sig 1 areas, so no significant tornadoes are expected. You can see we also have a 50% damaging wind risk across that area, and a 5% damaging wind risk extends from southeastern Montana into central Oklahoma and central and western Texas. No Sig 1 area either, and we do have a 15% hail risk across that same area across southwestern South Dakota into western Nebraska, and the 5% hail risk extends from southeastern Montana all the way into central and western Texas there, although it does extend farther east into western and central Missouri there. No significant hazards are expected tomorrow, but if you're in those areas, still pay attention. I will have future forecasts out tomorrow and maybe even the day after that likely, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn notifications so you're alerted for those. Now, looking at the day 3 SPC outlook, you can see right now they have a large marginal risk of severe weather from southeastern Montana all the way into eastern Kansas and much of Missouri there. That does include quite a few people. We have a large 5% risk area there. And if we go down into the discussion, we're mainly talking about isolated severe gusts and isolated hail. You can see there's going to be a good environment there with dew points of the upper 60s to low 70s. And we're seeing if storms are able to develop, the wind shear could be sufficient for storm organizations and rotating updrafts, but overall it's not looking like a super significant setup as of now. Next, looking at our day 1 excessive rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, we do actually have some updates from yesterday. We have a slight risk of flash flooding, mainly across portions of the southeast into parts of the Ohio Valley. We also have a few marginal risks of excessive rainfall across scattered areas, a few and slight risk of excessive rainfall mainly across portions of Georgia, northeastern Alabama, Tennessee, and to southern Kentucky, southeastern Missouri, and northeastern Arkansas. You can see some scattered flash flooding today, and if you're in the marginal risk areas, you can see some isolated flash flooding. Nothing significant is expected as of now. Next, looking at the Day 2 excessive rainfall outlook, you can see right now we have a slight risk of excessive rainfall, mainly across central Montana, and we have a marginal risk extending across portions of the Mississippi River Valley into the Montana and Dakota area, and then we have another one mainly across the southeastern United States. If you're in central Montana, you can see some scattered flash flooding, but otherwise those areas will mainly see some isolated flash flooding, but likely won't be significant at all, but make sure you still pay attention to this. And now looking at the Day 3 flash flood risk, you can see right now we have a very large marginal risk of excessive rainfall from much of Montana and northern Wyoming, all the way down into portions of the Mississippi River Valley, all the way into portions of the southeastern United States. I would expect that there will be a slight risk of excessive rainfall in one or two areas of future outlook, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you're alerted when I have some updates on this forecast. Now, looking at the National Hurricane Center's website, you can see we do have one area to monitor here that now has a high risk of development. You can see right now, through 7 days, it has a 70% chance of development, but for the next 48 hours, it has a 0% chance. So sometime next week, it will likely develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm. And I will have more updates on the system as it forms and as it strengthens, so make sure you pay attention to future forecasts on my channel and official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Next, looking at the official forecast for Jangmi from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, you can see now is at 50 knots, which is about 60 miles an hour. And early in the morning tomorrow at around 6Z, you can see it's already supposed to be a typhoon with winds around 75 miles an hour. And then on the 31st of May, it will peak at around 80 knots, which is 90 miles an hour, which is much lower than originally expected. But you can see as it impacts the city of Kadena, it will have around 70 knot winds, which is about 80 miles an hour, and the area of 60 mile an hour winds or higher will be even larger, so make sure if you're in Kadena, you are prepared for that. And if you're in Yakushima and Amamiyoshima, make sure you're prepared for some significant sustained winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour with even higher wind gusts. And as it starts to impact portions of southern Japan, it will bring some tropical storm force sustained winds and tropical storm force wind gusts to large portions of the island. That will cause some damage, but the main risk will be some flooding. And as it impacts Tokyo, the Tokyo area could even see some sustained winds over 60 miles an hour, which would be very significant with some gusts into the typhoon force range around 70 to 80 miles an hour, and that could also bring some significant flooding and prolonged wind gusts over 50 miles an hour and sustained winds over 40 miles an hour for a very long duration, as the system will get larger and its wind field will expand. So for in portions of southern Japan like Tokyo, Kyoto, all the way out towards western Japan there, which I can't really see the sea names out there, but make sure you're prepared for the system as it could be pretty significant for your area. Now, looking at the satellite imagery for Tropical Storm Jangmi, you can see right now it's actually looking pretty good on satellite imagery. You can see it's starting to look more like a typhoon would, with more convection wrapping around the center, and it's getting on that classic typhoon look now. If we look at the loop here, you can see it's been organizing over the past few hours, with some more thunderstorms building up on the eastern side of the system. And you can see some inflow coming from the eastern or the western side of the system, So it's looking like it's starting to strengthen a lot more, and probably by the end of the day, this will be at typhoon strength, so make sure you subscribe to my channel for future emergency updates on this system. Now that it is very clear that Japan will likely be significantly impacted by future Typhoon Jangmi, here's what you can do to prepare. First of all, if you're in those islands that I talked about that will first be impacted by the system, you need to prepare for some typhoon force sustained winds and even higher rain gusts, potentially reaching up to 90 to 100 miles an hour. So make sure you have enough food for several days, enough water for several days, and any of your pets and important documents and items you have are kept protected from the storm. And if you're in mainland Japan, especially in southern Japan, including the Tokyo area, make sure you're prepared for some tropical storm force sustained winds around 40 to 70 miles an hour, depending on how far south you are. So make sure you're also prepared for some significant flooding. Make sure you have enough food for a few days, enough water for a few days, and make sure you take similar preparations to those on the islands, although the storm won't be as significant for your area. Anyways, that is the end of today's weather forecast. If you're in the impacted areas by the severe weather over the next couple of days, make sure you stay updated on my channel with official SPC and Weather Projection Center forecast. And if you're in Japan and want to stay updated on Tropical Storm Jangmi, make sure you either subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications, or you watch out for official forecasts from the government and from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and I will see you on the next weather forecast. Goodbye!